Do you think this is just boisterous talk, or do you think that actually this is nearing the end, that we will see a default in the next couple of weeks and ultimately a Greek exit?
Mr. Tsipras issued a dovish statement this morning, so it looks like he hopes that there would be an agreement on Monday at the extraordinary EU summit that has been called specifically to address the Greek issue. So hopefully this lengthy negotiation will come to an end. But he's in a very difficult position because he overplayed his hand, believing that Europeans need Greece as much as Greece needs Europe, which sadly is not the case. So he firmly believed, and perhaps he still does, that Greece is a systemic case and that creditors will blink and give him what he wants for fear of contagion. Hopefully things will be resolved this coming Monday, also because there have been very large deposit withdrawals from Greek banks as an agreement did not appear to be in the cards.
Miranda, do we need a referendum in Greece? Would that solve the issue? We saw those demonstrations that were actually so, pro-staying in Europe, and at the same time it was 85%, I think, approval rate to have austerity measures, and now it's gone down to 65%. Is that the only way to, at the end of the day, deal with the issue?
Yes, a vast majority of Greek people want the country to remain in the euro area, even if it means more sacrifices. And really, the differences are not that large between the two sides. Creditors are asking for small but growing primary surplus targets, which the Greek side has accepted, but they have not come up with credible measures that would achieve those targets. So hopefully the government is preparing to table some proposals at Monday's EU summit meeting in order to bridge the gap between the two negotiating positions.
Miranda, do you think this government will survive?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Do you think that this government in power, Mr. Varoufakis, Mr. Tsipras, will survive either way?
It's very difficult to tell because he does not completely control his party. There is a risk that if he brings a deal to Parliament, he might lose his majority. He has a majority of only 12 MPs, and if the hardliners within his party vote against the deal, then that will spell the end of his government.
Miranda, give me a sense of what, people are thinking on the ground. When you look at the banks, and it seems, we're concerned about outflows. We had that comment from the ECB yesterday saying they don't know if the banks will be open on Monday. Then that was denied a little bit. I mean, how concerned are you that actually we are going to see either a bank run or capital controls?
Deposit withdrawals accelerated strongly these past few days. I understand the outflow reached close to 1 billion just yesterday, and ECB Council Governing Board member Kere warned at yesterday's Eurogroup meeting that Greek banks might have to remain closed on Monday ahead of the EU summit that will be in the evening, Monday evening. If there is no deal reached at the summit, then I'm quite sure that the banks will not reopen until capital controls are imposed, because that would spell the end of the negotiations, and the ECB, of course, is waiting to get its cue from the leaders. If the leaders decide that Greece is a lost cause and there will be no agreement, then the immediate next step would be for the ECB to pull the plug on Greek banks. And then on June the 30th, Greece will be unable to meet a $1.5 billion payment to the IMF, which would be the beginning of a slippery slope toward Grexit.
Miranda, pretty strong words there from you. Thank you so much for joining us.